Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode... sake. Hello? Yeah, this is Vin. Jim? Whiskey Novice? Sure, yeah, how's it going, buddy? You want me to do what? Record an intro? I mean, sure. I guess I could do that. Yeah, alright, I'll let you know when I get onto it. Yeah, I love you too, buddy. Yeah, get right on that. Weirdo. Whatever. Hi.
Hello and welcome to another whiskey review with me, the Whiskey Novice. It's good to be back, good to have you here. And thank you to Vin PF for that introduction. Vin's a lovely fella, but he never returns my calls. Anyway, we'll hear more about Vin later if you hang around. It is review number 38, part 2 of my short trip to America. 2 of 4, and this time we are looking at Eagle Rare from the Buffalo Trace distillery there in Frankfort, Kentucky. Eagle Rare, I believe, was reintroduced around the mid-70s or something again, but it went from distillery to distillery sort of thing. It is a 10-year-old, which is something we don't see an awful lot in bourbon. It is a straight bourbon whiskey with an age statement. 10 years old, aged in, as of course bourbon has to be, New Oak, charred New Oak. It is 90 proof, 45% ABV. And this one comes from their mash bill number 1. If you're unaware of Buffalo Trace, they have a few different mash bills with different makeups in them. This is mash bill number 1, which is a low rye mash bill. It's 10% or less rye, and you're looking in the same group as the George T. Stag Junior, Benchmark, Buffalo Trace, etc. all fall into that same mash bill, but obviously there are differences between them due to aging, etc. So into your Eagle Rare. There's a lovely colour, I think, on Eagle Rare. I don't generally look in the colour an awful lot. Simply because it doesn't really matter an awful lot to me. I know some people it does, some people it doesn't. But sometimes I just look at them and think, yeah, that is a lovely colour. Because you're looking at charred New Oak. It's very much its natural colour. So I've had this in the glass a while because I know actually from doing my notes that I'm not a big fan of this straight out of the glass, straight out of the bottle. Even though, as you can see, there's not an awful lot left in this bottle. It has had its air about it, but it's still, when you put this in the glass, I find it a bit tannic to the nose, a little vinegary or something. You know, it's just a little, I found it a little unpleasant in the glass. It takes a little while to open up. So I went ahead, poured this to give it a little time, and already it's starting to settle and get that more caramelly, rich, deep chocolate thing going on. Yeah, any edge that there was, as I say, that I tend to, think there was a slight vinegary edge off it, which isn't really there now. It's rich, it's full. The oak then starts to come through, as I say, your usual bourbon notes. That burnt char, although there is also fruit. There's a banana, quite ripe banana. There is orange, there is toffee, yet again you would sort of expect toffee. So it just takes a while to settle down, but when it does settle down, it is a nice nose. Slight old funk in there at the back of it. When I say old, I mean slightly fusty. onto the palate. Yeah. Yeah, it's the same as I've always remembered about Eagle Rare. The palate, I love the palate on this. The nose, I am slightly indifferent about. The nose I can either take or leave, and I find it strange. Usually, I find whiskey the other way around. Most whiskies that if it's a bit flat, if it's a bit dead on the palate, the finish, etc., it's usually got a great nose on it. I find this, as I say, I could take or leave the nose. But that palate, far better. Kind of tangy, bittersweet delivery. Very creamy, very oily. Yeah. But the vanilla, the toffee, all the usual things you would expect around there. There's also a leathery, real rich leathery thing about it. Very nice palate. Finished quite long, quite dry. Slightly nutty. I'm going to add some water to this. I did add some water when taking my notes, so it feels that only right that I do so now as well. The nose doesn't change an awful lot. If anything, becomes slightly more bittersweet. The palate, it's even better. It becomes softer and more balanced. Where it was good before, I would suggest now, as I say, it's just softer and slightly better balanced. It's creamier. Yeah, it's even creamier. And probably then more of your caramel toffee starts to come about. Length of the finish is still, I think it's even longer. You've diluted it down a little. It gets more peppery. It becomes more bristly. But a very nice whiskey. Yes, it is. And I'm going to compare it, and it felt only right to compare it with this. And as I said before, I don't compare anything before I actually record these, so I don't know what this comparison is going to be like any more than you do. But Eagle Rare is one of those things. Ready for the pop and the clock. Eagle Rare is slightly harder to get hold of here in the UK, and you would expect to pay £35 to £40 for it. So it ain't cheap bourbon, but it has a 10-year-old age statement on it. So in comparison, your Buffalo Trace you'll probably find in almost every supermarket. Yes, this is bottled at 40%. Now, as I said, this is bottled at 45%. This in the UK is bottled at 40%. Could be wrong, but I think in the States it's maybe bottled slightly higher, or there definitely is a higher percentage version of it out there. But I find that this is a worthwhile bourbon to have. If you like bourbon at all, I would recommend Buffalo Trace. I don't know many bottles of this I've had. I've lost count over the years. So, and this is just the latest. Back to the nose, that Eagle Rare. Yeah, there is slight bitter notes in the nose. There's even a slight polish or varnish note starting to come through now. and it's there in the Buffalo Trace as well. Now what I've done is, by adding water to this, I've probably brought this down to the same as this is now, with regards to alcohol. I haven't reviewed the Buffalo Trace yet, but I will at some point. Yes, a worthwhile whiskey to have, the Buffalo Trace. Now it's taken that a little while to open up as well. And the other thing to remember is that this is the neck pour. It's got the same slightly bitter nose. Not an overly appealing nose early on. But that palate, once again, is just, this is fresher. Remember, it's probably quite a bit younger as well. It's fresher tasting. It's brighter. But I think in this case, I prefer certainly the age that comes here. See, I haven't reviewed this yet. I will do at some point. Good stuff. Certainly for almost half the price. Sometimes you do find it half the price. It's punching above its weight then, because it certainly doesn't drink like a whiskey that's half the price of this one. It's just a little, it's fresher, it's younger, it just is missing something that this has. I've had other ones from the same mash bill, from the same distillery, the Stag Juniors, and the more your ABV starts to go up, the more punch that comes with it, the better that mash bill gets, the better that whiskey gets. At some point I will hopefully be reviewing something from that area, but all I will say is I'll finish the review by saying, yes, Eagle Rare, if you can get your hands on it, it's worthwhile. It is a very, very good bourbon. Yes, slightly more expensive, but very, very easy to drink. So there you go. That's Eagle Rare for you. It's time to share the love again. Oh, yes, it is. And of course, it could only be the man you seen at the start, Vin PF of No Nonsense Whisky fame. Vin, I don't know whether I've ever told Vin this actually, but I don't know whether he remembers. I think I maybe did tell him at one point, whether he remembers. The Whiskey Novice was pretty much, how do I put this without it sounding weird or wrong or strange, born out of No Nonsense Whisky. Because I was, without giving you a full history, I was a bourbon drinker for many years, but I wasn't a collector or anything like that. I just bought a bottle of bourbon once every couple of months. Every now and again, if I fancied a dram, I had one, and it was generally something different. I didn't stick to the Jack Daniels, the Jim Beams, anything like that. I did like to move around a bit, and I bought. I did like my Irish, I did like my Scotch, but I just tended to stick to bourbon. And at one point, then I bought a bottle of Scotch, which I thought was, you know, maybe a little bit stranger, a little bit, because I knew nothing about whiskey collecting, what was good, what was bad, anything like that. So before I even opened the bottle, I just happened to check out review. I thought I did not know that whiskey reviews happened. I was so naive that I just didn't realise that people were doing. I didn't realise these people existed. And Vin's was the first I came across for this particular whiskey, and I just loved it straight away, as in I loved what he was doing, I loved his enthusiasm, I loved his energy, and this is why I still go back to him, still go back to his reviews. And it was then that I moved from, and I watched his, and then I watched one by a scruffy old fella called Ralphie, And that was me hooked. There and then, that was me hooked. So this guy is to blame for this. If you want to lay blame at anybody's door, blame Vin. But as I said, it's his enthusiasm, it's his energy, it's his knowledge. He's been doing this quite a while, and he's gathered up a following which is well earned, you know, because of what he's done. So yes, get yourselves over, if you haven't checked out Vin's channel, it's Nonsense Whisky. Check it out. He's a good lad. He knows what he's talking about, and very, very worthwhile. Look, it is. That's that. That's me done again. I'd like to thank you for being here. As I said, this is review number 38, part 2 of my little tour around America. And I'll be back next time with something different. As I said, thank you for being here. Please keep well. Please keep safe. Thank you to my patrons for their continued support. If you would like to join my Patreon gang, we'll call them for now, I will leave something down in the description below. For now, listen, thank you. Please take care. Please stay safe. Look after yourself. Look after each other. Here's to your good health. Cheers. Hey, thanks for watching my video. Please click and subscribe to be notified of further content.